The Happiness Hypothesis, by Haidt. Divinity with or without God. In Edwin Abbott's Flatland, a square struggles to comprehend a third dimension. This fable illustrates how we often can't comprehend dimensions beyond our current perception. Our human social world is generally perceived along two dimensions, closeness and hierarchy. But what about a moral dimension of divinity, represented as the z-axis? This recognition challenges the secular contempt for religion. Understanding the moral motives of fundamentalists is essential in addressing their positions. Recognizing the moral dimension of divinity is essential to creating a three-dimensional society for all. Are we not animals? According to Paul Rozin's theory, disgust is a mechanism to decide what's safe to eat. It's rooted in our evolutionary history. Disgust also plays a role in our sexuality and how we view the human body. It's a biological response to protect us from microbes and parasites. Disgust supports cultural norms that separate humans from animals. It emphasizes human uniqueness and preserves cleanliness as something near to godliness. When we acknowledge this third dimension, disgust becomes a bridge between the earthly and divine. It helps create a sense of heaven or something higher. The Ethic of Divinity. Richard Schwetter's research reveals three ethics: autonomy, community, and divinity. The ethic of autonomy prioritizes individual goals, while the ethic of community values group integrity. The ethic of divinity seeks to safeguard the divine within each person. In my research, highly educated Americans favored autonomy, while Brazilians and lower social status individuals lean more towards community and divinity. Cultural reliance on these ethics varies. To understand the ethic of divinity, I immersed myself in Hinduism and the anthropology of purity and pollution. I discovered that practices related to purity and pollution weren't just about the body, they related to the soul. Purity practices in Hinduism relate to treating people well and accumulating good karma. The ethic of divinity bridges virtue and purity, emphasizing the divine within each person and the moral path to spiritual elevation. Sacred intrusions. From the Indian custom of removing shoes at the door to the language we use to describe morality, we often experience glimpses of the sacred. In the Victorian era, ethics of divinity played a significant role in public discourse. Science even acknowledged the vertical dimension of divinity. However, as society advanced, Western culture underwent desacralization. According to historian Mircea Eliade, this has resulted in a purely practical and profane world. But even atheists can experience intimations of sacredness, especially in moments of love or when immersed in nature. This is what Eliade described as crypto-religious behavior. Elevation and agape. Thomas Jefferson provided a precise scientific definition of elevation, listing its components. It's the opposite of disgust and is triggered when we see people move up on the vertical dimension of divinity. Studies show that elevation is distinct from happiness and can inspire people to act altruistically. However, it may not always lead to active altruism towards strangers. Research suggests that the vagus nerve, which controls heart rate and is linked to feelings of gratitude, might be activated during elevation. This nerve often works with oxytocin to produce feelings of love and bonding. Elevation can make people more open to forming new relationships and less inclined to engage in active altruism towards strangers. This was shown in a groundbreaking study involving lactating women. Elevation and agape represent a love for all humankind. Such experiences can shape people's views on tolerance, acceptance, and social change based on religious beliefs. Awe and transcendence. Awe is often linked to feeling small and powerless in the presence of something vast. For example, Charles Darwin felt spiritual upliftment in the grandeur of the Brazilian forest. Great art, music, or inspiring speakers can also elicit feelings of awe and transcendence. For some, substances like LSD and psilocybin have been linked to profound self-transcendence. Both religious and non-religious people can have experiences of awe and self-transcendence. Psychologist Abraham Maslow studied peak experiences, moments when people feel united with the universe. Maslow believed that religions are built upon the insights of peak experiences and are meant to promote and maximize their ennobling effects. He aimed to unite the truths of science and the insights of peak experiences to reform education and society for the better. The Satanic Self. According to Mark Leary, the self is unique to humans and gave our ancestors useful skills such as long-term planning and self-control. However, it also created a personal tormentor, a world full of negative thoughts and useless inner chatter. The self is a problem for all major religions because it keeps people locked in the material world and unable to perceive divinity. Spiritual transformation requires the transformation of the self, which often objects to change. Following a spiritual path is hard work and requires years of self-control and self-denial. The self does not like to be denied and is adept at finding reasons to cheat. In a sense, the self is Satan, or Satan's portal. Understanding the negative impact of the self is crucial to respecting the moral motivations of those who want to conform to their religion. Flatland and the Culture War. The culture war is tied to Schroeder's three ethics: individual autonomy versus divinity and community. Gloria Steinem's quote reflects the ethic of autonomy, while Rick Warren's book embodies the ethic of divinity. These ethics shape the culture war. The culture war debates often revolve around issues like prayer in schools, displaying the Ten Commandments, and phrases like under God in the Pledge of Allegiance. These issues highlight the clash between autonomy and divinity. The debate over issues like birth control, abortion, and assisted suicide is also tied to the ethics. Liberals support autonomy, while conservatives invoke all three ethics in their discourse. In summary, the culture war is a clash between those who emphasize individual autonomy and those who seek to structure society according to divinity and maintain a sacred-profane divide. It's a complex topic with no easy solutions.